Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. Tomorrow is officially the day we will know exactly what the 53-man roster for the Philadelphia Eagles is going to look like. That means today we need to jump in with my roster projections coming up here in just a couple of minutes. First, though, drop a like down below if you guys are pumped for the season. We are 13 days away from the season opener in Atlanta, where I'm at right now. Give us a thumbs up if you guys are pumped for the start of the season. All right, as I mentioned, we are literally hours away, and some of the cuts might start happening later on today, but upon filming this video, we are less than really a day away from the official 53-man roster cuts being finalized. They'll officially start on Tuesday, maybe go into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. We'll have a full breakdown whenever it happens, but know that this video is all about my projection for who the 53 men on the roster are going to be. I think I'm going to get this pretty accurate. I think there are a couple of changes that I might be wrong on, but this is my full-on prediction. I'm going to be pretty darn close, and we'll break it down for you guys coming up tomorrow. So, let's start with the quarterback spot. I think it's very simple, right? Jalen Hurts is 1, Joe Flacco is 2, and the newcomer, yes, the guy who's caused a lot of drama the past couple of days, Gardner Minshew, he will be there as well. No real surprise here. Let me just say this very clearly. There is no quarterback battle. There is no quarterback controversy. Gardner Minshew is not signed to give Jalen Hurts a run for his money. Let me say that again. Gardner Minshew is not signed to give Jalen Hurts a run for his money. He was signed to give Joe Flacco a run for his money, plus it costs pennies on the dollar. Gardner Minshew is the future at the backup quarterback spot. Flacco will not be here next year. Minshew will. For everyone out there in the national media saying this is a referendum on Jalen Hurts, you haven't been watching this channel. Jalen Hurts had a fantastic training camp. One of the best training camps we've seen in recent Eagle history. I'm not worried at all. Minshew comes in as a guy who, again, is a great backup. The Eagle scouts themselves during the draft a couple of years ago said he'd be a great backup in the NFL. He's finally an Eagle. There's no controversy, no issues there. Okay, there'll be a pinned comment down below me right now during the first ad break here on YouTube. Answer this comment before we get into the running backs. Grade the Eagles roster, just as a whole. How do you feel about this Eagle roster? I feel really good. Let me say, a lot of people outside of Philadelphia don't think we have a good football team. We have a pretty darn good football team. I would give this an A- or a B+ in terms of the roster, but I'm also, a little bit of a homer. Maybe, sue me. Sorry. Give me your grade down below in the pinned comment of the Eagles roster right now. All right, running backs. This was very difficult going into the season. It's very simple starting at the end of training camp. Miles Sanders 1, Boston got 2, Kenny Gainwell will be 3, and Jordan Howard probably be sitting there, at 3 or 4. Huntley and Holyfield will be the 2 guys cut. Again, no real surprise here. Jordan Howard gets the final roster spot. He might even be the 3rd guy, depending on where you rank Kenny Gainwell versus Jordan Howard, but Howard has earned this. He's been really, 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 really good so far in training camp. I thought Kerryon Johnson would be right here. I thought maybe Hale Huntley would be here. Nope, it's very clearly going to be Jordan Howard. They will keep 4 running backs, Sanders, Scott, Gainwell, and like we just said, Jordan Howard. Wide receiver to me, again, not as hard as I thought that it was going to be. Smith is 1, Rager 2, Watkins 3. That's really all you need to know, basically, going into the start of the season. Those are your top 3 who will be on both the outside, and then Rager will play a little bit of mix inside the slot of the X and the Y. Ward, of course, makes the team. Fulgham and Whiteside are the final 2. They do make the football team, barely. Fulgham might get cut tomorrow. I think he's going to make it, but he's barely making it right now. Hightower, Michael, and Peyton are the 3 wide receivers who are going to go ahead and be cut. John Hightower's had a terrible, terrible training camp. He's definitely not making the roster. I think Whiteside does, due to the fact that we hope that he eventually becomes good. As I said, Fulgham had a terrible training camp, and I think he's looking like he's not going to be as good as he was last year. It might be a bust, but he will make the roster just based on the fact that they're hoping he's going to be good eventually. And that's the only real hope you have here with Fulgham, because he, again, has had a very bad training camp and a bad preseason as well. You guys think the Eagles will have a 1,000-yard receiver this year? Devontae Smith, Rager has had a really good training camp. Chris Watkins, that's a long shot, but still. The Eagles have a 1,000-yard receiver, type Y down below for yes. I think they will not go down below, and type N down below for no. Okay, tight ends to me are very easy. They'll go Goddard, Ertz, and Tyree Jackson, but they got to, there's some things to do here, right? Because Jackson might start the year on PUP. He might start the year on IR. They might just put him on IR and bring him back next season. I think they're going to cut Richard Rodgers, but once they figure out what they're going to do with Tyree Jackson, then they'll bring Richard Rodgers back. So really, it'll be Goddard, Ertz, and Rodgers to start week 1 in Atlanta, but they're going to keep Tyree Jackson. I would be shocked if they just let him go. They will do something in order to bring him back, whether that's put him on the practice squad, on the PUP list, on the IR. I'm not sure yet, but Jackson is going to make this roster. They've loved what he did up until the back injury just a couple of weeks ago. Ertz is going to be on the roster. Talked about that all offseason long. We thought he was going to be traded, then he was going to be cut, and he was going to be traded again. Nope, he's going to be on the roster for week 1, barring some crazy change the next couple of days, which I don't see happening. Those will be your 3 tight ends. Offensive line, they're going to keep a lot of offensive linemen. They like the depth that they have. Mailata, Seumalo, Kelsey, Brooks, and Johnson are your 5 starters. They will keep Andre Dillard until somebody offers them a king's ransom, and not really a king's ransom, just a good overall fair trade for the left tackle. Dickerson will start on the PUP list. We'll talk about that in a second. Driscoll will make the roster. Urbeg, Opeta, and Toth. They like Ben Toth a lot. Kind of be the final offensive lineman to make the roster. Clark, a Pierce Rocker, and I think Awosika, I think as they say his last name, but the 3 offensive linemen who are going to go ahead and be cut. Dickerson will start in the pup. He's not going to play the first couple of weeks in the NFL. He's close to being able to play. I mean, he's getting very, very healthy. It's impressive from where he's been based on the injury at Alabama last year. Excuse me, but he will be on the pup, so you might be able to keep an extra lineman, but the guys I mentioned are going to go ahead and be your offensive line. It's going to be a good offensive line, too. That's something we got to emphasize here in the channel. I keep telling people this is the top 5 offensive line. It might even be a top 3 offensive line. Like, we forget how good Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks and Kelsey are holding down the right side. Sam Maul's a great left guard, and I'm very excited about Jordan Mailata. As you guys know, this is going to be a really good offensive line. I think Atlanta's going to be surprised Week 1, whenever Philadelphia goes to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because that Falcon D-line's not that good. They might get worked around a lot by this offensive line. Keep an eye out for that here in the next 13 days. Defensive ends, pretty simple. Graham, Sweat, Kerrigan, and Barnett. I think Teron Jackson is going to be the one who's going to go ahead and get cut, but they will bring him back for the practice squad because he was a draft pick, so you can't just let him go for absolutely nothing. I would start Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat. I would play Ryan Kerrigan and Derek Barnett in terms of rotationary perspective. I think that's how you're going to see it Week 1 against Atlanta, against a very bad Atlanta offensive line. I think Sweat gets the start. He deserves the start. He's been absolutely fantastic so far in training camp, so no real surprises there along the defensive line. Okay, before we get to the defensive tackle position, because there are actually a couple of surprise cuts there. We'll mention that in just one second. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, as we're going to have the full breakdown of the actual roster when it comes out tomorrow, right? So you get some cuts today, but not all cuts, most likely. Tomorrow, look for in the afternoon for our video to go ahead and drop, because we're going to get you guys up to date and covered on the full 53-man roster breakdown. So we're over that breakdown, as well as potential practice squad guys. I mean, it's all going to come down here in the next couple of days, so stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe to the channel just for that exclusive coverage. Again, D-tackle here, no massive shocks. Cox and Hargrave are your 2 starters. Hargrave's going to have a massive year, guys. I mean, get ready for Javon Hargrave Pro Bowl talk. He's going to be that good. He's been unbelievable. He's been the best defensive lineman in camp so far. I mean, truly. I think he's been better than Fletcher Cox based on what I've heard. He's been fantastic. Williams has been great as well. McGill is your 4th D-tackle. They're going to let go of Hassan Ridgeway, Raekwon Williams, Jaquan Bailey, and Matt Leo, or Leo, obviously his last name, are going to be the guys who are going to cut here as well. Ridgeway, maybe he sneaks in if they want to make moves at other spots, but he's probably going to be let go because they really like what they have in Milton Williams. Cox goes into this season, again, the best defensive lineman. I think him alongside Javon Hargrave is going to be something very special that people don't fully understand how great it's going to be, because I don't know how you double Fletcher Cox and then leave Javon Hargrave one-on-one. I don't know how you double Hargrave and you can't leave Cox one-on-one. We've seen what that happens in the National Football League, I mean, for years. That is going to be a scary good group. It's a top 5 defensive line group, and it's really, like I said, not even close. Linebackers, they keep a lot of them. They like a lot of them. Eric Wilson, TJ Edwards, Alex Singleton, your projected starting 3. That's my best guess there. There could be a change there if Edwards struggles early on, but I think of Singleton and Wilson for sure, your starter. Bradley, of course, makes the roster. Davion Taylor has had a good offseason. Avery, they're very high on, and they traded for him from the Browns a couple of years ago. They're very high on Jarrod Avery and his transition to linebacker. He's been pretty darn good on the outside. Patrick Johnson had a shoulder injury in the previous preseason game, but he'll be healthy. He'll make the roster. They'll cut Jacoby Stevens and Rashad Smith, but they'll sign both of them to practice squad. Stevens hasn't had a great training camp, not good enough to bolster into the scene here as being a linebacker, but he will be a practice squad guy, so no real worries there. We'll go to secondary here in just 1 second. First, though, quick shout out to our friends at BetUS and the crazy good promo code that's going on right now for you guys to get in on the betting odds for your Philadelphia Eagles. Chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Use that promo code Eagles125 for a 125% deposit bonus, because right now, the Eagles have the worst odds in the NFC East, and it doesn't make sense. Like, Dallas, plus 125 is Dallas. So basically, you put $10 down, you're going to win $12.50, essentially, if you were to bet on the Dallas Cowboys right now. Washington, plus $2.50. You put $10 down, you win $25. Giants, you put, what is it? You put $10 down, you get $37.50. Philadelphia, you put $10 down, they win the NFC East, which they probably will, $50. Put $100 down, $500. Bet on Philadelphia to win this division. I'm going to do it with my BetUS account. You guys should as well. Chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Use that promo code Eagles125. Okay, final spots here. Cornerback, no surprises in my opinion. Slay and Nelson are your starters. Maddox will be the nickel guy. Zach McPherson, of course, makes the roster. He's been pretty good. I mean, he has a little up and down in the actual games, but in camp, people have been very impressed with Zach McPherson, who I think is going to be the future at cornerback, but he's not the future now. Like, it's a good thing they went out and got Steven Nelson, because he's not ready yet, and they'd be picked on a bunch, especially for week 1 against Atlanta. I mean, Calvin Ridley would eat his lunch, but I think the fact they signed Steven Nelson gives McPherson still a roster spot, but gives him a lot of, safety and security. Very, very zen, calm time right now for Zach McPherson, because he has no real issues in terms of losing a roster spot. Before we go ahead and get into the final group, which is safety and then special teams, what's the best position group the Eagles have? I think it's the defensive line, but it could be the offensive line as well. Honestly, either one. I mean, honestly, quarterback. They're loaded at quarterback, right? Gardner Minshew's in there now. Give me your thoughts on the Eagles' best position group down below right now in the comments section. I would go with D-line, but I would listen to you guys saying O-line. Let me know down below. Safeties, no surprise here. Harris, McLeod will be your 2 starters if McLeod is healthy. Keep an eye on him, maybe start another pup list. If not, Kayvon Wallace will start there. They like Marcus Epps, though. I think Elijah Riley makes it. I think Arnold, Adams, and Blake Countess are cut. I think Grayland Arnold will for sure be a practice squad guy. He's been like that his entire career coming out of Baylor. They like what he does. They don't think he's ready to go yet, but he'll be a practice squad guy 100%. Special teamers. You see my screen right there? Elliott, I mean, that's the main focus here. Really good in preseason. He's had a pretty darn good training camp as well. Lovato will be your lawn snapper. I think Sapas, I say his last name? I always forget how to say his last name. He'll be your punter as well. I think they're going to, roll out the same basic special teams they've had, minus the punter for pretty much the entire time. There you go. There's my roster breakdown, right? 53 men. I think I'm going to be pretty accurate on this. There could be a couple of changes here and there, and of course, if there are, and of course there will be, I'm not going to get it perfect, but if there are changes, we'll have a full breakdown tomorrow with the actual 53-man rosters. Make sure you guys are subscribed for that, because that one is coming very quickly. I mean, you're going to watch this video, and the next day, it'll be the actual video, so stay tuned for that as well. Ultimate for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm your host, Thomas Mott. We go ahead and sign off. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day.